What's going on, everybody? Doc here, Average Gamer Guys, back again. Last Day on Earth action. Let's get into it today. I have a more of a thought-provoking video here for you. I haven't shared this quite yet. We got this a couple of days ago, posted to the official Discord. It also dropped in our Last Day on Earth Discord channel if you would be interested in joining that. Links in the description. But we got this new weapon that will be coming with this upcoming update. And I am hopeful that we see this before Christmas. I think that's still a reasonable time frame. I do think it's going to be late November, early December potentially, but that's just my guess. Anyways, a 4-shot, essentially shotgun. So this thing is looking pretty cool. This is going to kind of provoke some thoughts I've been having. We're going to do a transport hub run today, and we'll just kind of chat as we get through that. But this is looking pretty cool. If you haven't seen this already, this is looking pretty neat. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting a new weapon to be part of the updated environment, updated changes, kind of new content. I am happy for that, and I'm happy for it for a few reasons. One, it makes it feel like this update is going to be maybe even a little bit bigger than we anticipated, right? I kind of assumed, and maybe it was unfair, but they provided the roadmap. They talked about changing out and moving around the zones, kind of changing up the winter region, because again, most players just really don't go there, right? There are alternate options for finding copper, which is really one of the main reasons that you would go. There's a few other reasons, but and just the enemies there are difficult, and it's a cool location to explore a little bit, but after that, because of the requirements for the different clothing and all that kind of stuff, most players probably avoid it. It's also very hard to get to. It's hard to farm because it's so far away. Anyways, so I was kind of expecting we were going to see that. They talked about a few additional things that they were going to do. We've seen some of the updates up to this point, kind of revamping some of the season quest tasks, events, if you will. Obviously, we've got some recent events that were pretty good, and expect some more events around the holiday. And I was kind of feeling like maybe that was about where it was going to land. I thought we might see some additional Survivor Path content. I thought we might see some additional, they talked about some bosses and kind of changing up a little bit of the flow of some of those things. So I thought that was going to be some of the additional content. I still think we'll see that. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell with Last Day on Earth, because sometimes they showcase cool things like this, and then other times they kind of leave that stuff until it's closer to release or people are out exploring. So I'm not sure if we'll see, I'm sure we'll see more updates. I'm not sure what else we'll see. This, though, was something that I did not expect, and I'm happy for that, because I think it leads to a couple of thoughts. One, for me, it means that potentially there's even more weapons. As we kind of continue this evolution, what I think we're going to see from this update is another step in the direction of, I don't want to call them specialty zombies, because I don't think that's fair, but zombies that require a specific solution. We've seen that with armored zombies. We've seen that in the Winter of Despair event from last season. We saw where we needed fire weapons to do the most effective damage. We've seen that from the, gosh, I don't remember what it was, like the New Year's event where we needed the special weapons. We've seen this from the Hunter's Instinct, where we needed, the sharpened tools or the sharpened weapons. I like that. And the reason I like that is because I think for future content, for future locations, maybe locations that they want to make, I don't want to say more difficult, but more unique, they're going to be able to tailor the zombies to fit that, where you have to be well equipped for different situations. I personally like that. I think that's going to be cool. I think that's going to add some longevity. I think you see it like a very minor amount with the transport hub, where you can't just necessarily go to the transport hub without being equipped enough to take down armored zombies, right? You can get through a good portion of it, and I'm happy with that. But if you want the maximum value out of Transport Hub, you need to bring some of your Genesis weapons. And that could be frustrating, certainly, for newer players or players that are not quite far along in their progress, but for more veteran players, I think that kind of step up in difficulty and a little bit of additional challenge, it's going to keep people coming back. I personally really like Transport Hub. It's one of my favorite locations that they've added in recent years. I do really like the Port Lab. I think that's really cool. I think you're going to, I hope with this feels like a step in the right direction of continuing to build on that. Now, Frost Zombies are going to require, or maybe not require, but in order to do maximum damage and get the most benefit, you're going to need either these fire type weapons or what I'm really hopeful for, and I'm just praying. I am just absolutely praying. I am really hoping that they build on and actually give us some ammo mods to add into the pool. I think one of the things that I have been hoping for a long time with Last Day on Earth, and not really seen it, but we've seen inklings of it, we've seen it implemented for events, is ammo modifications. During the Winter of Despair event, we were allowed to create incendiary ammo. They've done some other things where they've given us the opportunities to do that, and I'm hopeful for that. And the reason I'm hopeful for that, too, is because that could actually add some additional modifications to weapons that might not even have any right now. Colt Python is a perfect example of that. That got an ammo mod during the Winter of Despair event. That made that weapon, which probably for lots of players just kind of sits in your inventory, that could make that weapon useful again. And I think that would be really, really neat. My one concern with ammo mods is making them accessible. If they're not accessible, if they're too hard to get, if it's too much of, I don't mind if it's a grind, but if it's too much, if it's too reliant on luck, that's going to be really tough. And so one of the nice balances might be is actually having some weapons that can deal that damage, very similar to Genesis weapons. Here we're going to be getting this kind of 4-shot shotgun, and it looks like it's going to do incendiary damage, and that is going to be a way to get it. And I don't think we'll have to do much modification to this. Now, I also am hopeful with this weapon that it's not like a Genesis weapon, and I'm hopeful that we'll see some modifications on this thing as well. Looks pretty cool. I'm actually really excited about this. I think the shotgun that we have now is awesome, so I think seeing some variations of that. We have the Protector, which is the Genesis shotgun, which isn't, it's good. It's not great. It's good. Limited use, I would say, but it's pretty neat. And so I'm pretty excited about that. So I want to open this up, just a few minutes of chit-chatting about this. Haven't heard or seen any other updates up to this point, so kind of just biding our time until we get that. But let me swap over here really quickly. We'll keep talking about ammo mods and some other thoughts I have for the future. But let's get into some Transport Hub gameplay. Okay, we're gonna jump in here. I haven't done any clearance. I probably won't make you sit through the whole thing, but I will go to get over to the boss, and we'll clear some of this main area at least. And yeah, so ammo mods. If you have not been around for a few of these other, recent events, when I say some of that stuff to you, you might not know what I'm talking about. You have seen it in your weapon bench, actually. If you have been astute and paying attention, you have seen where you've had some opportunities to, do some additional mods that you don't have access to. I am really, really hopeful with this event, or with this, upcoming update, that we see some changes to that. I would love to see the opportunity, like I said, to get some of these ammo mods on some of these weapons, and just, again, open up the value, I guess. Open up the opportunity for some of the weapons to be useful, and, to a certain extent, selfishly, I'm hopeful for some things to kind of go and go after. I'm hopeful for some items to go and to grind a little bit. I'm hopeful for, some new content, obviously, but for some new things to unlock and to kind of hunt after as well. I think with ammo mods, where I want to be careful, again, is this idea around not making them luck-based, right? If they were a part of the Survivor's Path, for instance, at least some of them were part of the Survivor's Path, I would feel much, much better about everybody's ability to get those. I think that's going to be the thing that I'm sure for them is a little tough to balance, right? Because you don't want to just give it to everybody right away, but you also don't, what I don't want to have happen if they introduce weapon mods is to lock them through their current system of weapon modifications. It's too much RNG based, it takes too long, and there's no way at this point to move in a direction to get what you're missing. So many folks comment on so many of my videos whenever I talk about mods for like the drone or any mods that we pick up in free to play that, you know, they're excited or they just picked up that mod, or folks have been hunting for the last one that they need, and they just haven't found it yet. I think that's where some advancement in that system would go a really long way. Now, at the start of that, with how, you know, mods and blueprints work, I think the system's okay. I think it's cool to crack it open. I think it's cool to have a bit of a dice roll, but I would really like a system that allows for kind of an ability to narrow what you're getting. And you could say, well, Doc, they have the different colors and all that stuff. Yes, that's true, but there's a lot of extremely rare mods. There's a lot of rare mods. And so it can be frustrating when you're opening extremely rare mod after extremely rare mod, maybe every season, or you're going to Blackport PD and you're doing the crates, or you're doing whatever the case may be, and you're hitting the same ones. And you get to a point where you don't have a lot of mods left that you need. Now you can go to Bunker Alpha, you can trade those in, but you're not getting extremely rare mods out of that because they won't drop. So I'm hopeful for a system or an update or just a way if they bring it. I do think the Survivor's Path is probably the most reasonable. It's probably the best that it opens up as part of the story mode and is unlockable. I think that would put at least me at ease, because then you could work through the progression and then you could get it. And then certainly you're going to need the materials to be able to, you know, put it together and do all that stuff. And I'm okay with that. I think that's where the grind can be, is, you know, putting it with the requirement of the stuff that you have to get to actually craft it, instead of actually getting access to the mod. Now, the other thing that I'm hopeful for is if we see mods, and we see the Incendiary mod, for instance, have it come back around because it's already been in the game. I'm also hopeful that we'll see some mods for some other things. One of the things that I've really enjoyed here, and I showcased this in a recent video, taking down the bosses in hard mode in the Port Lab with the drone, is getting the option to have different types of ammo and different mods for the different types of ammo for the drone. I think that's awesome. I think it's one of the coolest things that the drone has going for it. And while I don't want to see like a massive amount of different, you know, weapon or different ammo mods, I think you could vary it up a little bit. Take the shotgun. Imagine doing like, I don't know, an electric discharge round or something that when it's fired, if it's fired into a group of zombies, you know, stuns them or slows them down. Could be pretty cool. Not too far off from reality. You think about like Dragon's Breath is essentially shotgun shooting fire, so makes sense. So I can see Incendiary, and you know, they have less than lethal shotgun rounds that essentially shoot a taser. So that could be kind of neat. I'd love to see armor piercing ammo for some of the other weapons. Imagine getting a SCAR or a VSS or an M16 and being able to get armor piercing ammo on it. I think there's a lot of opportunity to continue to flesh out that system. I'm just a big fan. I think one of the best grinds in the game and one of the most rewarding advancements for Last Day on Earth is being able to get modifications on your guns, right? The things are so precious already, but then being able to get additional durability, additional damage, additional skills or perks on your weapons is one of the most rewarding grinds and one of the most kind of rewarding things you can do in this game. So finding opportunities to expand that is really cool. So right here, drone is a perfect example. Very customizable, extremely customizable Lots of options. You can fit it to your needs. You can fit it to your play style. You can fit it to, what you're going to go and tackle and take down. For instance, here we have armor piercing bullets on. We have the boomstick, the sentinel mod, and target designation. I want my weapons when I'm using the drone and fighting this boss to miss less. I want to be really consistent with that. I like the sentinel perk. Boomstick, fantastic weapon mod for this, right? So the extra damage is absolutely awesome. And then armor piercing bullets are just absolutely a crusher for bosses. So this fits this playstyle. The beautiful part is I could go take the drone and I could modify it a little bit different. I wouldn't do much different for Port Lab. That's what I went and same setup I used for taking down the Port Lab bosses. But if I wanted to go to the farm, for instance, I could use the grenade mod, or I could use the healing mods on this and set it up so that I just didn't have to worry about extra heals. There's lots of opportunities for this, and I think that's where it will be kind of neat. And I'm really hopeful. Again, I'm really hopeful that what does this say? Interesting. Okay. I've never seen that one before. But that's where I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful to see this kind of move towards the expansion of weapon modification, bring those ammo mods to the game. And again, I think there's lots of really neat things that can get done from that perspective. Now, you're about to watch this absolutely just crush this guy. 46 damage on these shots. We're going to spend absolutely no time at all and hardly any weapons shooting our boy here. Get a little scar action. 72 on a crit. Do you see that? That's crazy. It's crazy. All right, he can run away. That was one setup. Do I want to use this or the VSS? I think maybe the VSS actually. So I know I've been rambling about that, but it just feels like there's so much opportunity there, and I think that would, for longer term players, I think revitalize a little bit. I think that would help to bring folks back into the game. I think again, they could add the variants that this game needs sometimes to these locations. You could almost have, for instance, imagine coming to the transport hub and it having been hit by like a snowstorm. Okay, now I wouldn't want to have to deal with that all the time. Maybe you could see weather conditions beforehand, but imagine if we had to have our weapons set up with incendiary mods, but it could help us to clear this better. That'd be super fun. That'd be really neat. That would make coming to this location really fun and be something a little bit different every time we went to go do it. So that's kind of where the basis of this conversation comes from. It's also just built on the fact that we've seen this stuff before, right? At some point, I hope it becomes permanent features. I hope we get the rest of the weapon mods that we are currently missing, the active skill mods. I hope we see additional mods for weapons, right? And continue to expand that. I think the Dragunov is a perfect example of a very well fleshed out weapon with a lot of options on it. Now, it only has 2 handguards and 1 magazine or whatever, but like they could do another magazine there. They could continue to expand some of these things and just keep opening up the play options. And my hope would be is if they do that, my hope ends up still being that they find a way to at least balance out or a slightly better system for us being able to turn the mods in and, essentially kind of force to a certain extent get what we want, right? I don't want to say that like they should be giving it to us, but give us an avenue of being able to actually unlock it without relying on pure RNG, right? And just numerous chances of RNG. That's my one concern, and I'm hopeful that that doesn't come to fruition, because I think that would sour the experience, honestly, right? Me being super excited to get a special ammo mod on the VSS, whatever, if I had to go and just RNG roll a whole bunch of crates or packages or whatever, and then I missed on it, would be pretty devastating, to be honest with you. You can see here, crossbow. Again, it has this little potential modification here. This was for sharpened arrows from the Hunter's Instinct event. Bring it back. I'd love that. I would love that. Maybe we could do this and it would do more damage to like just regular zombies, or maybe have the chance to bleed them. That could be really cool. There just feels like lots of cool options for us to go and to knock out and to do. And I think there's a lot that we could keep building on, which would be really, really neat here in Last Stand Earth. And again, bring some players back, bring some longevity to some of these things, be able to kind of open up new options for locations, new difficulties, new balance changes, new types of enemies to a certain extent, and then make the strategy of the game a little bit more important than it is right now. Right? At this point, we have some basic strategies that lots of folks use. When you get your weapons modified like this, you're pretty well set, right? But you see this empty spot right here? That was Incendiary mod during the Winter's event, Winter of Despair event. So we could bring this stuff back. We could keep making Last Stand Earth great and improving it. And that's my hope. That's my hope. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Excited to hear and excited to keep moving towards sharing any of the update news that we do here. I am really, really excited for this weapon. I'm really, really excited for this upcoming update whenever it happens to drop. I do think it's going to be pretty big for the game. So I am really, really hopeful, but I'm also very excited. And again, being able to see the weapon gives me some hope that there's going to be lots more stuff kind of jam-packed into this one. This feels like a pretty big update for Last Stand Earth, and I'm hopeful we'll see some good stuff. And then I also hope it helps to set some foundations for some more stuff to build on, right? Some more updates, some more additional features, some more new stuff here as things unfold. And I think if they took that route, I think that would be a very, very good route for future success and continued growth of the game. Absolutely. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I'd also love to see some of the weapons come into the game. I don't know why, but I really want the MP5 from the multiplayer to be in the base game. That might just be me. I could just be crazy. You could all say that you hate that. That's totally fine. I just personally really like that gun. I think it would fit, be really cool. I understand they want to make multiplayer like unique, but don't, because I just want an MP5. I think it'd be dope. We don't really have a ton of submachine gun options outside of the Uzi, so like that could be kind of cool. They could also make it a burst weapon. Selective fire could be a mod. As an ammo mod, they could make select fire. Give me a 3-round burst that does a little bit more damage. Think about it now. I got ideas, folks. I got ideas. They're not always good ones, but I got some ideas. I can promise you that. So, all right, I want to showcase this drone off here. At least one more go with these zombies. Look at that. Extremely rare weapon mod. Here's the thing, I don't need this. I'm just gonna hang on to it. I don't need it. I don't have any extremely rare weapon mods to get. I have all the mods. That is a very rare pull up there. Extremely rare. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I will stop, I promise. I won't, because I can't. That is really, really rare though. I've definitely seen it before on my main account here. Just a couple of times, maybe. Let's grab out the old Genesis weapon. Getting trapped in here is always a problem for me. Not always, but sometimes a problem for me. Let's get dodged here. Let's open the door up and then... Can you shoot these guys, please? Yeah, this thing is just going to destroy these guys. Boom, look at that. Oh, it's so good. 40 damage a shot. Beautiful. Now, it does not shoot through, in case you were wondering. This is why I hate Riot Shield zombies, because it does not shoot through their shield. I hate Riot Shield zombies. I need to do my tier list ranking on Riot Shield zombies so I could share a 5-minute explanation and deep dive, get on my soapbox, and talk to you about how much I hate Riot Shield zombies and why they're one of the worst, if not the worst. They are the worst enemy in this game. This is why, because they're just taking up my time. But that's pretty cool. Want to showcase that armor piercing mod on the old drone here. Doing absolute work. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, thanks. Click the subscribe button. It'd really help us. I'm gonna flash some socials, do the YouTube thing, trying to continue our drive towards 10K. Really hoping to get there by the end of the year. We're running out of time, so we need you to hit that subscribe button. Really just appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day. Hopefully this was an interesting one. Some good discussion. We'll keep you up to date with all the news as soon as it drops, and keep chatting with you about everything that is coming up here in Last Stand on Earth. Continue your grind, enjoy the season, and we'll be sure to see you in some more free to play. I got a few other ideas for some main account content, so don't you worry. We'll be back on this here very, very soon. So thanks again for watching, spend a few minutes of your day with me, and be sure to catch you in the next one. Peace.